everyone. Again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Checked in via video link already is Ron, KD7QKU. Bob, K9PQ. Richard, K7ITX. N7QO, Jim. WW7N, James. And myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check into the net this evening? And we'll get the net underway and welcome everybody on Christmas Day, and also best wishes for those participating in the Jewish phase of Hanukkah. So with that, we'll get started off with. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to the group. I was in,
To the
but now
group.
I'm out. There I'm in
I was
again.
in, but now I'm out. There I'm in again.
It's kind of in and out, maybe.
So I don't know. It's kind of in and out. Maybe it's stormy weather.
We trust
possibly.
everyone had a nice Christmas day, and we did.
Hey.
We had a Christmas
We
brunch
did. We
out on
had
the
a
Key
Christmas
Peninsula.
brunch out on the Key
My-
Peninsula.
Mike
Um,
and
my,
Mike's parents, we went to their house, Norma and Dave, and everybody. It was kind of potluck.
Everybody.
brought
It was kind of
breakfast
potluck.
casseroles.
Everybody brought
Dave
breakfast
makes these
casseroles, and Dave
fantastic cinnamon rolls.
makes these fantastic cinnamon.
Kind of upside down cinnamon rolls. They're really gooey.
They're really gooey. It's
Brown. Whatever it is.
brown.
White frosting is brown.
whatever it is. It's not white
But
frosting. It's brown.
They're like a
But it's
Cinnabon or something.
they're like a.
I don't know. You can't eat too many of them, that's for sure. There was
Can't
some
eat
other
too many of them. That's for
types
sure.
of
There was some other.
and they were just normal. Put butter on them.
Just normal. Put butter
But
on
anyway,
it.
we had a good lunch, and then
But anyway, we had a good lunch, and then we all bring a little gift for $20 or less.
On the floor, and then draw numbers, and then you can
Numbers, and
take
then,
a new gift, or you can
You know,
take
you
one
can
from
take
somebody
a
else.
new
It's
gift, or you
kinda
can take
wild.
one from somebody
Seems like
else. I
there's
guess
always
kind
one
of
thing
well.
everybody wants.
Seemed like there's always one thing everybody wants, but
And,
so that was kind
we
of
left
fun.
about, I know,
And
maybe
we
got
left
home
about, I
4:30
don't know,
or so.
maybe we got home about
Light out
4:30 or so. It was still almost light out when I got home, so I've
That's
been home for a while.
kind of
So.
my report for now,
That's
so I will turn it back. KD7ZYM in the group,
KD7ZYM in the group, KD7.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Boggle to Bob, K9PQ.
Hey everybody. Well, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. I'm trying to get things straightened out. Why don't you skip me this round and I'll come back the next time. I'm trying to get everything set up. So back to you, Dave, K9PQ.
We get the transmitter turned on, WW7N.
I doubt it. Yeah, if you would turn that on, James, I appreciate it. Someone else like Dave or Ron maybe could tell us if the transmitter's on.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Let's pick up Richard down in Arizona, K7ITX.
Okay, well, I trust everybody can hear me tonight. Merry Christmas. You good? Thumbs up. All right. I never know for sure with my connection. Yeah, just another beautiful ride home about it today. What can I say? It just never stops coming to be so nice down here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's weird to celebrate Christmas the way we have this year. Well, everything about 2024 has been kind of weird for me. me, including just everything. And now Thanksgiving and Christmas, we did have. So what we did for Thanksgiving, we bought a Costco smoked turkey, and we split it in half, one for Thanksgiving and one for Christmas. So we had the other half today. It was just delectable. Man, you can't beat it. I always am been a real ham, pun intended, for smoked turkey. And so the two football games, pro football games on Netflix were pretty uneventful, so as far as I was concerned, so no big deal there. It was just nice to see Debbie and Pippa go for a couple walks, one in the morning and one this afternoon, and Mika on my lap just would not sit still and had to be outside constantly in the sun, exploring or whatever. So she's a handful to keep an eye on. But it was all just a nice and easy-going time. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go on to Jim in 7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, happy holidays. Yeah, Dick, definitely a little unusual being away from the home state there for the holiday season. Interesting that Mika just wants to bathe in the sunshine. Good luck getting her back home. Oh well, if that's the worst problem you've got, you don't have anything to worry about. Glad to hear that anyway. So let's see, Jim. Yeah, you were asking. The television repeater's on. When I first got the thing powered up here at my shack, I saw Ron, and then he disappeared, and then I saw Dave, and then he disappeared, and right now I'm looking at, it's not clear to me how the switching is done. I thought there was supposed to be some automatic switching system, but I don't know. Right now I'm looking at the picture which Bob has. I assume it's looking out the window of his trailer onto a parking lot, and the other side of the parking lot is a water area. So maybe whoever is doing the switching, you could explain to me how that switching is working nowadays that we're doing it. Ron, gooey cinnamon rolls. Wow. Did you say you cannot eat too many? I'll tell you what, when I was walking through a terminal, you could just smell a Cinnabon nearby, and you have to kind of take a turn toward the aroma, and you just have to buy one of those things. But two of those things, and it's like, wow, what a gut bomb. I got to where I couldn't buy them because they were they would just sit in my stomach for several hours during the flight, and but they sure were yummy to munch down. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO, thanks with that. And for an ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause momentarily if somebody wishes to check into the net. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's go to Northeast Bellevue, WU7N, James.
Thank you, Dave. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and soon to be Happy New Year. Less than, 4 days away. So, let's see. I went down with sister and brother-in-law down south to where my other sister and other brother-in-law live, and we had Christmas Eve, great dinner. He is a fantastic cook. Probably not as good as you, Dave, but close. Okay. So anyway, we went down there, and the interesting thing down there was sea lions. Their cove has been invaded by these giant sea lions, and what they do is the alpha of the pack sits in the center of something that floats, and then all the other sea lions, the young ones, want to come on, and they argue about it, and they do it all night long. And I don't even speak fluent sea lion. I can tell you, they're just repeating themselves over and over again. So, I mean, it's not even really, some kind of rational argument. It's just yelling at each other. But it is kind of entertaining to watch them. They swim around with their little paws in the air, their fins in the air. And it's, kind of fun to yell in sea lion, orca, orca, and you'll jump up and look around. But they catch on really fast. That only works like once or twice. Anyway, there's this neighbor down there to them that has this very fancy gadget that it's got 2 giant batteries on it that it opens up sort of like pod bay doors on 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you drive a boat into it, and then you close the pod bay doors, and it's like sucks the boat up out of the water a little bit. And they're up to 600, 800 pounds, the big ones. They're hanging out all over this thing, and they don't think that it's gone undamaged, just because there's just so much weight laying on the parts that move. So, I don't know, I think it'd be kind of fun if you could get a remote control or something going to make the doors move while they're sitting on it, and I think that would be sort of entertaining, but that idea didn't really take hold. Ron, I'm glad you had the delicious traditional Christmas Cinnabon roll, and those gift things where you can always you can always take the blank gift or take someone else's gift. I think they're just about banned in office spaces now. I mean, too many people are getting mysteriously thrown out windows and such. They can really get into it there. And Richard, 2024 being a weird year, I would say you get the absolute qualification for the weirdest year of all of us. But it sure has come out well, I'd say. It looks like your cat's almost falling asleep. You might want to pet her a little bit there, wake her up. Oh wait, the eyes came out just to open a little bit. Let's see. I didn't know Netflix put football games on. I'll have to look at that. And Jim, it sounds like you have Cinnabon Sense, both in the way that you can sense the Cinnabon outlet far away, but also you have the sense to know that you'll hate yourself, 2 hours later. I, on the other hand, have only the first, not the second. So I'm in the 12 Steps group for Cinnabons and other gooey holiday treats. So that's it here from Northeast Bellevue. This is James, WU7N, at 15 minutes after the hour. Take it away, Dave.
WU7N, thanks for that. I'm transmitting in digital video at this point.
This is Dave, KD7ZYM.
Raining outside,
and for me today was a family gathering for the holiday observance. It was a nice function. I might say I've got a sugar high right now. Oh, they do taste so good. And anyway, that's something exciting thing to see. I recall in my career way back when a big raft that the sea lions had taken over in the Puget Sound.
Media, we were boated out to that
Were boated out to that raft to take pictures of the sea lions. And I'll say,
from
the sea lions, you knew that they were real. Boy, did they have an odor.
left in my mind. But the other good odor is
But the other good odor is those Cinnabons. Once
anytime somebody says Cinnabon,
it just
get in your mind
tweaks a little bit in your mind, and
that smell right away. So that's
right away.
what's happening
So that's about what's happening here. So this is
I am in Lake City, and I'll send it over to Ron.
and I'll send it over to Ron, KD7Q.
Thanks, Dave, and the group, KD7QKU. Well, yeah, it sounds, Jim.
It sounds, Jim, N7Q, it sounds like you got your receiver working. That's great.
I'm
Fantastic.
surprised James.
I'm
hasn't
surprised
got
James-
got it working, but maybe he does for all I know. I guess. Yeah,
Maybe he
he's got one
does,
in
for all
his
I
hand.
know. I guess, yeah, he's got one in his hand. So he must be
So
working
it sounds
on
like
it.
everybody had a pretty good.
So it sounds like everybody had a pretty good Christmas dinner.
Last night we had Christmas Eve here. We had Phyllis,
Eve here, we had Phyllis.
came over. Families kind of all split up.
Families
They
kind of all
go-
split
they have
up,
to
you know,
to
they
the
all go,
in-laws,
they have to go to
outlaws.
the in-laws and the outlaws,
And
and
the
so
old folks kind of get left
then the
at
old
home.
folks kind of get left at home,
Joanne
so.
had got a
Joanne had got a-
roast or something and cooked this roast, so we had a nice roast.
So we had a nice roast dinner last night, it
And
was
then,
delicious.
and we actually had some
And then,
leftovers.
we actually had some leftovers just a
So, yeah,
little bit
so
ago.
anyway, I
So,
wasn't
yeah,
here
so
last time.
anyway,
Last time was
I wasn't here last time. Last time was birthdays.
So we met him.
So it was my son's birthday, so we met
On
him,
the Key Peninsula and went to a Mexican restaurant.
went to a
And then it was
Mexican
Eli,
restaurant.
who is the
And then it was Eli, who is Joanne's niece's
plays
oldest
ice
boy.
hockey, so we went to the
He
ice
plays ice hockey,
arena
so we went to
over
the
here
ice hockey arena.
in South Tacoma and watched him play. They lost.
Watched him play. They lost, by the way, but that doesn't really matter.
He's been
I think
playing
they had a
ice
good
hockey
time.
for 2 or 3 years.
He's been
Well,
playing
quite a
ice
while.
hockey
So anyway, they go all over the state. But anyway,
over the state, but
and then
anyway,
after that we went over
he
to
seems enjoying it.
Doug
Then
and
after
Phyllis'
that, we went
house.
over to
We had
Doug and Phyllis's house,
kind of Mexican food again and tacos and stuff. I had Mexican
and
food 3
tacos
days
and
in a
stuff.
row.
I had Mexican
And
food
it
3
kinda
days in
did
a
me
row,
in.
and it kind
It's a
of
little
did
too
me in.
spicy for me, Bob
It's a little
smiling.
too spicy
So
for
I
me,
suffered
Bob
the
smiling.
consequences on
So I
Monday.
suffered the
We were
consequences
due to go
on
to
Monday.
another party, but
We were due to go to another party, but
I
I
couldn't make it. We
I
had to
couldn't
call and
I
say
couldn't
we
make it.
come. I was feeling terrible. And I'm still a
Terrible.
little bit under the weather. I
And I'm
don't feel
still a
great
little bit
right
under
now.
the weather. I don't feel too great right
I
now,
think I'll
but
get
I
back to a
think I'll
normal day and then everything
get
will
back
be
to a
fine.
normal.
I'm a guy that needs to be on a routine.
Guy that needs
I
to
have
be
my-
on
my
a routine.
I
I have my
coffee and
my
go to the
routine. I
bathroom.
get up, have my coffee, you know.
Eat breakfast at the same time. When I get out of that routine, like I didn't have coffee this morning. That was terrible.
Didn't have coffee this morning.
I'm
That was
addicted to it,
terrible.
I'm just short.
I'm addicted to it. I'm just
I
short.
was
You
in a
know.
bad mood.
I
had a
I
headache
was
and
in a
everything
bad
else.
mood.
So, and I only drink one, kind of
I only
large
drink one,
coffee a
you know,
day.
kind of large cup of
I
coffee
use
a day.
instant
And,
coffee and it has 2
I
teaspoons
use
of
instant coffee and it has 2 teaspoons of
Anyway.
coffee.
I miss my coffee, that was for sure. So.
That was for
Okay, I
sure,
guess
so.
enough out of me. I'll send it back.
Okay, I guess enough out of me. I'll send it back to Ned. KD7.
7QKU.
87 QKU, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CY.
Coming up next is Bob, K9.
Is Bob, K9PQ, and in the broadcast industry, his position would be.
Operator. So anyway, take it away, Bob.
So anyway, take it away, Bob.
Yeah, otherwise known as the one to blame for everything going wrong. So yeah, let me start with that to get Jim up to date and everybody else up to date. So first of all, I'm the one switching the different scenes around. Normally that would be Wade, but he's away today, so I'm doing all of that. And I had an extra little complication because Rob was on doing things on the same computer. We both had been, when I came in, he was like, "Who's this?" And I had to identify myself, and he had been doing some testing and didn't know the net was going to be on this evening. So anyway, so he got out of the way, and we got things going. I still have one problem though, which I believe is here on my end in my shack, and I don't know why. Like you can see me right now. That's coming out through my video controller out to my digital equivalent of the Grand Stream, the JTech Digital, and so everything's working fine for myself. Everything's working fine for the still photograph, which, by the way, is out of a B&B in Ireland, where it's one I've used in the past. That is just kind of a nice picture to throw up, and I know exactly where to find it. So when I'm in a bit of a rush, that's the one that goes up. But when I tried to put up James and Richard via Discord, which is showing just fine on my laptop, it was flashing. It was not working right, and so for some reason, and I think that's got to be here in my own shack somehow. The connection between my laptop and the video controller is not working. So yeah, I've been scrambling a bit, but I did get to pay attention to some of it. Yeah, Ron, Mexican food. I love Mexican food, and I have to just be careful not to have it too spicy. And just in general, I used to love garlic too. I can't eat garlic anymore, hardly at all. Yeah, I know, it's shocking, James. It's that one's been a very tough one for me because I used to love it, but now even just a little bit will upset my stomach. So yeah, more and more foods I can't eat. It's it's a story that many have told. The sea lions keeping you up. My brother Don lived just up the hill from the Fauntleroy ferry dock, and I asked him one time, "Hey, do the the noise from the ferries?" Because the noise came right up from the water. He was on a hillside just above it, and I said, "Do the ferries keep you up at night?" He said, "No, never, but sometimes the sea lions do." So even around there, you would get that. Might have been seals, might have been sea lions. I'm not sure which, but. And the Netflix football, I'm going to break here. The next Netflix football, I believe this is just a one-off thing, or from what I can tell, it was just for today, just for Christmas Day. From what I don't know for a fact, but it seems like they're not, involved like Prime does. Amazon Prime does every Thursday, and then the others are just on the networks. But I think this Netflix was a one-time deal on Christmas that they worked out. And finally, cinnamon rolls. My mom made outstanding cinnamon rolls and really spoiled me for cinnamon rolls, and I haven't had them in a very long time. She passed away some time ago. I know my sister has a recipe and makes them. I have the recipe. I'm not much of a cook, and I might try it, though, one of these days. But she just made these outstanding cinnamon rolls and kind of spoiled me. Although Cinnabon came pretty close, I have to say. But I even gave my mom cinnamon rolls the nod over Cinnabon. And no restaurant I ever ate where they had cinnamon rolls came close to my mom's. So, yeah, I think that's good for this time around. I'm afraid I wasn't paying a lot of attention to people just because of everything I'm trying to do here, but I'm glad we have so many people on Christmas night. I wasn't sure we would get so many, so good to see you all. I'll send it back, K9PQ.
PQ, thanks for that. And we'll go down to Arizona where it's 52 degrees and talk to the one and only Richard, K7ATS.
enough. Let's see. I guess everyone can hear me okay. Oh, 27 degrees in New York. Okay, well, too bad for them. Seattle 43. Well, too bad for them as well. And today was 68 in Phoenix, but yeah, Scottsdale right now it's 52. Today was probably 68 or 70, something like that. But that's in the shade, of course. If you're in the sunshine, it's a balmy 80 degrees easily. So I don't spend a lot of time in that just for fear of sunstroke, quite honestly, or something. Well, you know, I did run into some high blood pressure and low blood pressure issues. In fact, that's why you didn't see me on Saturday night. I have what's called orthostatic blood pressure, which means you got both low and blood hypertension. And so for me, the goal was to quit taking that drug. The only problem was it caused me to literally just about pass out at my outpatient physical therapy, and in the process cut my leg, and it just kind of goes on and on. You know, I mean, it's just par for the course. Nothing too unusual, except for the fact that we decided that it's best that I probably start taking the blood pressure medication as prescribed. The high readings when I'm standing up and doing exercise, well, yeah, normally if you were like that all the time, you'd have a stroke or a heart attack, but that's not the case. So when I take the blood pressure medication, I'm normal, at rest, high in activity, and that's just how it's going to be. I can't have both. So, and if I don't take it, it's normal sitting down, but when I get up to do activity, it drops too low and I lose consciousness. So that's not a good thing. So, you know, we all have our own quirks, that's for sure. So, and I too will confess to having cinnamon rolls this morning. Ours came from Trader Joe's, though. So, and that's not a bad deal. In fact, this is the first time Debbie ate two and I only ate one. Except there's still a couple left over. But I think I'd rather go for the pumpkin pie and whipped cream when the net's over. That's what I'm going to go for. So that's also a tradition as well. So, yeah, it seems like I got things figured out, and busy day tomorrow, super busy day, surgery on Friday, got to do that special shower with the special soap. I think Ron knows all about that. So, anyway, K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, let's go to Covington, N7QO, Jim.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Let's see. Well, Jim, talking about the sea lions and the barking they do, are they trying to challenge the number one guy? Or I thought the barking was more of an effort to attract a mate. I'm not sure about that. I know I've seen a number of
sea lions or seals. I don't remember the difference between the two. I think it's with the flippers or tail fin or something like that. I used to know because I saw them a lot. I used to fly in and out of Los Angeles and San Francisco a fair amount, and I saw them there. But with them constantly barking, a bunch of guys doing that, I just figured they're trying to attract the mate. I don't know. And let's see. Dave, you mentioned an odor about the sea lions. Yes. The odor comes first, and then you go, what the heck is that smell? And you look around, lo and behold, there they are. And then you hear this barking. So at least that was the sequence that happened with me. Let's see. Oh, Ron, yeah, I know you missed the last net. I'm not sure who else did, if anyone. But, yeah, last net was the first net where I was able to receive digital video from our television repeater. So I could see the pictures from which our television transmitter is sending now. So now I'm looking at apparently from Bob's B&B in Ireland. Yeah, it was at sort of a round window. I was thinking that maybe on the trailer or something, almost like a boat. But I remember seeing this before. I just don't remember for sure what it was. So thanks for clarifying that, Bob. And, yeah, Ron, you missed your coffee, and a routine definitely helps. And it seems to me that it's more important as we get older. Routines definitely help keep everything going more smoothly. Good luck with that, because it just, sometimes you just can't be routine. Oh well. Bob, thank you for being the switcher there. And, oh, Mom's cinnamon rolls. Yummy. I have a soft spot in my heart for a lot of foods, and that is among them. Dick, wow. Blood pressure problems, sometimes too high, sometimes too low. I don't know. I don't know how problematic that is. And I don't know what sort of havoc it may cause during medical procedures. You mentioned something about a surgical procedure on Friday. I remember that from sometime on a previous net you mentioned you were going to do some procedure. So we'll be praying for you on that. And yeah, you mentioned pumpkin pie. My guess is it's probably some of the leftover Costco pumpkin pie that you got from before. Surely you wouldn't have any left from that previous incident, so maybe that's a new pie. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for mentioning that. Good luck with the surgery. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Thanks for that, and time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. James.
Thank you, Dave. I'm showing a picture of what I think those sea lions out in Puget Sound are California sea lions. They refer to them as migrating up here. The males come and the females kind of hang back to raise the young, I think is how it works. but that's what they look like. And it says that sea lions are pinnipeds. That's a really fancy name for saying they're seals. Characterized by external ear flaps, long foreflippers, and the ability to walk on all fours, short and thick hair, and a big chest and belly. Well, I think that just described most, could have described us. So I guess you do have to qualify it by they have to look like that picture and swim around in the water, is what I'm going to guess. But anyway, well, Ron, being under the weather, okay, I have a question for us all. I was not feeling well today at all from about, 10 until 3, and I think it's because I had a glass of wine last night. Now, if I get to the point where I can't wash down my garlic bread with extra butter with a glass of wine, I mean, is life worth living? I'm not sure. But anyway, I, for some reason, was not feeling well today, and then, of course, my brother-in-law and sister wanted to get back here. I don't know why. I mean, what are you going to do when you get back home? But anyway, we were home by 3 before it was dark. That's what's important, I suppose. It poured rain the whole way, and I was in the back feeling miserable, although Tylenol and Tums helped a little bit, the classic hangover remedies. So, but it wasn't, I now, instead of like in the old days, you drink 3 bottles of wine and have a hangover, and I apparently can now do it with about 6 ounces. I'll have to do extensive testing on this, and it's tough to keep a controlled environment, if you know what I mean. You only have one person, so you have to really think about what you're going to do here to try and figure out if that's really what's causing the problem. But the other thing is with just so much darn delicious, greasy, good food, including that thing that's kind of like an omelet, but it's more of sort of like a cross between an omelet and a pancake. It's a very Norwegian dish, and yeah, Dave knows what it is. Dutch babies, they go by all different names, and I found that different cultures call them different things. Maybe if you know what I'm talking about, you can say what you call it, and then if you know the origin of what those things are called. I had plenty of those this morning, and those were delicious. I've decided, Canada, the big deal is, oil and natural gas. Forget that. Canada's major contribution to planet Earth is maple syrup. And of course, Costco has maple syrup aged in bourbon casks, which to me is like mixing matter and antimatter, but somehow they managed to get it in a bottle without destroying the entire world, which is quite an accomplishment, and it is delicious, so I guess it's kind of worth the risk, as many things are in life. So, dongle, yeah, okay, so yes, Ron, I do have this dongle, and I actually do know which end plugs into the computer, and I did plug the other end into my high-gain antenna, but nothing happened. I could receive FM stations, because I guess European FM stations are the same as American FM stations, but what this dongle will receive is, of course, the DA digital formats, which we don't have in the United States, except, for amateur radio operators. So I couldn't, to really see can it or can it not get a video. I may have to build a whole special little platform on the input end or output end of the 1.2 gigahertz Yagi, and then feed it with a big long extender cable so it can plug into USB version 2 here on the end, this thing right here. Because for some reason, I don't know why, because I'm less than 5 miles away from the site. I should be able to get it. But for some reason, I can get FM stations, but not our 1.2 gigahertz signal. So anyway, that's it from here. This is WW7ATS in Northeast Bellevue. Let's turn it back to Dave.
And I'm transmitting again in digital
video for information. But gosh,
blood pressure readings, that
brought up an interesting fact to myself. I had read
where you have your arm when you're taking blood pressure readings.
You're taking blood pressure readings, and what I read was you needed to bring
your heart level when you're taking the blood pressure reading. And I did find out that did lower my... I was kind of confused with it, so when I was at my doctor's office that has the ultra expensive blood pressure machine. We did an experiment in the office, and I put my hand in the lap, the blood pressure went up. And the blood pressure came back out to normal.
blood pressure came back out to normal. So it was kind of interesting.
And I need to get another ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. And for those of you that had a little libation during the holiday, feeling ill, it's because of the ice worms.
it's because of the ice worms. It's not the drink itself, it's the ice worms.
The effect, feeling bad.
Feeling bad. So anyway, such is life for
So this is Dave,
KD7ZYM. I'm going to send it back to Ron. Katie.
KD7QKU here.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
the same way. I used to drink a lot, and then to drink a lot of beer and drink a lot of alcohol, and then I, sort of quit.
And then
we started,
sort of quit, and then we started, going with them.
So I drank quite a bit of wine. But I'm like you, Jim. It seems like anymore. I just
Like
have
you, Jim, it seems like anymore. I just have one,
wine, and
small.
I can feel it. I had to stay. The red wine kind of has the same effect on me as the Mexican food.
Mexican
So
food.
I sort of have to stay away from.
So I sort of have to stay away from. I'm a white wine.
And getting over to Netflix and football.
Over to Netflix and football. I thought that was kind of crummy that they put it on Netflix.
I couldn't have watched it today anyway, but I looked for it on everything I have. I have Prime and everything. I could not find the football games, and I was very disappointed.
Football game, and I was very disappointed in that.
And I hear now that it was on Netflix.
And I hear now that it was
My
on.
brother-in-law has Netflix, so if I'd have gone over there, I could have watched it. But like I
Over
say,
there,
we
I
weren't
could've
going to
watched
be
it.
home anyway.
But like I say, we weren't going to be home anyway.
And those sea lions, oh my goodness. I think what you need to do is take a stick of dynamite and put it in a fish and feed it to him.
And feed it to
Especially
them.
that guy that's in the middle of the raft.
Especially that guy that's in the middle of the raft that's causing.
Either that or if you're a hunter, you
If
could
you're a
give him
hunter,
a lead injection.
You
right
could
between
give
the
him a
eyes.
lead injection right
That
between
would
the
take
eyes,
care of
and
it.
that
But I
would take
couldn't
care
put
of
up with that. I don't know. I think I'd have to
it.
either move him or move me. And I
Either
guess
move him or
probably
move me.
Same way with, they had him up here. Bob's closing his ears. They had it, Herschel
Closing
up
his
here.
ears.
that
They had it,
wanted to
Herschel
eat
up
all
here.
the salmon, and they couldn't get rid of him. But I
They
think somebody
couldn't get
did.
rid of him, but I think
found him
somebody
out
did.
there.
I think somebody found him out there.
Sunning himself on one of those buoys because somebody
Buoys because
shot about 8 or 9
somebody shot
of them.
about
They
8 or
tried to
9
keep
of them.
Quiet, but,
They-
and then that's kind of about the same time Herschel stopped coming around. So Herschel might have been.
around, so Herschel might have been one of them.
They're pretty
So I
obnoxious.
don't know.
It's the same with the geese. The people that live on a lake, the geese come up and sit on their docks, and they poop on their docks.
Their
Oh, my
docks, and they
goodness, what a
poop on
mess
their
it is in
docks,
their
and oh my
yards.
goodness, what a mess that is. And
It's really terrible. If you see, sometimes they put things on their docks and whatnot.
they
trying
put
to
things on their
discourage
docks and whatnot, trying to discourage them, but
nuisance,
it's
and so
a
those
real
sea
big
lions
nuisance, and so those sea
live around
lions
the
and
water,
people
the
that
sea lions must
live
be
around the
really-
water, the sea lions.
So let's see. I guess that's about all other than food
That's about all other than
that I can
food
talk about.
that I.
So my camera's working pretty good. I put it on record and it hasn't shut off yet. So
And it hasn't shut
last
off
time
yet.
it shut
So.
off, but that was because
Last time it shut off.
S&D card or whatever it's called was full. So I had to delete all the pictures, and so now hopefully it'll run an hour on
Now,
record.
hopefully it'll run an hour on record before it
That's
shuts.
good. I like my camera. I think it has a nice picture. Was glad to hear that Jim can receive.
Was
now.
glad to hear that Jim can receive now and
Get
720.
James receiving here in just a short time, hopefully. Seems like those gongles they use, they had to hook them up to the computer and reprogram them or something. I don't know what they
Or
had to do
something.
to them.
I don't know what they had to do to him.
I suppose you talked to Wade and Carlos about that. They were the ones that did all the research on them. I know nothing about a dongle.
Nothing about it.
All right, it's fun as usual. I don't know what time
It's fun as usual. I don't know what time it is. Let's see. It's
8:46. Okay, well, I'm going to
8:46.
and listen some more, see what you guys have to talk about. KD7QKU.
time to go to Master Control to Bob, G9PQ.
Hey, yeah, here I am at Master Control, feeling rather not in control, but it's slowly coming back. I did find the problem here at my end with getting the people on Discord on my laptop out. It was a bad HDMI cable, so I swapped the HDMI cable, and that's why you were able to see James there, and you'll be able to see Richard when it comes back around to him. Let's see. Well, there were a lot of things people talked about this time. Yeah, as far as alcohol, I mean, I very rarely drink it anymore, but I never had a problem with not. I mean, my problem was the opposite. You know, I could drink very much alcohol, and I did, and so that's why I drink very little now. But it never gave me any problems other than the usual, like hangover and that sort of stuff. And I did, before I started commenting on other people, I did want to say one thing that's going on with me, because you know, it's been a quiet day, and sort of the highlight of my day is my brother's oldest daughter is very high functioning Downs and on the autism spectrum. So she's got a lot of challenges, but she, you know, they've mainstreamed her through school. She might be in her senior year this year. I'm not sure, but in high school, but she finally just got her own phone. So it was a very big deal. And Don texted us we have a thread for our, you know, my brothers and sisters all together. We have one, and he told us about this, and then the next text was, within 1 minute of getting the phone, she had dialed 911. So they apparently she hung up. They called back and had a little discussion, and you know, as I say, she's high functioning. She knows what she's doing for the most part, but sometimes just things don't go quite right, and but she's all straight on that. She knows not to do it, and I think it was probably an accident, or she was just trying things out, and that's what happened. So yeah, I did not know that somebody had been shooting sea lions down here. I know it was a big problem for a long time, and I think they even tried to cart him off to California, and he came all the way back from California because he was like, hey, this is where the fish are. Let's just hang out at the locks and eat all the fish as they're going to the fish ladder. Yeah, I mean, that's a real tough one. But I didn't know that somebody had been shooting them. As for the geese, I worked one place in the Chicago area, in the suburb, where the common thing there was you'd have a little artificial pond that they would create outside of a building, and it would be where they would use that water for the cooling for their you know, AC, you know, because they'd have this huge AC, and it was a very efficient way of cooling the coils, you know, instead of just doing it with air outside, especially when, you know, the temperature's high outside. So the geese would love to come around because it wouldn't freeze over in the winter, even though most of the, you know, the natural ponds would. These ones, because of the heat from the building, the geese would stay around all winter, and yeah, and it would be an awful mess, and they would harass people. So one place they had a really clever solution. They had put a little man-made island inside this man-made pond out in the middle of the island, and they had a breeding pair of swans there. And they would just hang out there, and you could walk around this little pond, and you'd be about 25, 30 feet away from them, and they didn't care. You know, but you wouldn't dare approach them. But they were out on their island, so they felt safe. But the geese wouldn't come anywhere near. They would not mess with swans. And so just having this pair of swans there kept the geese away. And somebody had a great operation. They were down in Florida. And so they would supply these for the winter, the breeding pair. They would have goslings. I don't know how many they would have, but they'd have them. And then, you know, the company pays to have the swans, not goslings. They'd have the baby swans, whatever they're called. I forget. And they, So they'd get the baby swans back, and they get to increase their business. They've got more swans now, plus the company pays them to have the swans there. So pretty nice business, I have to say. I'm going to break here. I did want to mention on the RF signal, when it goes black like that, this is, you probably know, but in case you don't remember, this is due to interference that we're still trying to figure out. We found what we thought was the cause, which was APRS, nearby APRS signal, and it stopped for a while, but I don't know if that started up or if there's something else, but that's why the RF signal, it goes black for about a second, 2 seconds every so often. Let's see. I think that's maybe it. Oh, Dutch babies. I'd never heard of that. I think it's, you mentioned you thought it was Norwegian. It's in the name, Dutch baby. I think it's probably Dutch. I'm a quarter Norwegian. There's a lot of Norwegian traditions I'm aware of. Dutch babies are not one of them. Lefse is the big one around our house for Christmas. I didn't have any this year. I meant to go get some and I didn't. Okay, well that's enough for me. I'm going to send it back. This is K9PQ.
PQ, oofta. Anyway, let's go on to Richard, K7ITX.
K7NKK.
Well, a lot of talk about the sea lions. I don't have anything in particular against the sea lions. I have a bone to pick with the crows and the raccoons. Now, while we've been, dealing with issues here in Phoenix, Arizona, it wasn't until my daughter pointed one of my cameras towards our front yard, and oh my God, these are not just crows that are digging up our grub. Someone said raccoons do it, and because it looks like someone went in there with a rototiller, and then why our yard and not the neighbors? That's the other thing that, I guess it's because we weren't around to, put on the grub spray or whatever you do. So my guess is our problem is, again, not the sea lions, but the raccoons coming in, turning up the sod, and then the crows follow after. And it's just a nightmare now. I never cared too much about the front yard. That was really the YL's pet peeve. She really did a beautiful job, really fixing it up nice. And now, when she saw the results while we're gone after our daughter turned the camera towards the front glass, oh my God, it makes her sick. So she called True Green to spray whatever they spray, and she's going to have her hands full, not only with me, but the front grass when we get back to Kent come this spring or early winter. So, I better say 73 is getting down to the wire. 73, everybody, K7ITX. Back to net control.
ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to N7QO, Jim.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, wine. My question was it homemade? Wine, I don't really enjoy wine, but it usually sits okay in my stomach. There were 2 times that it did not. One was homemade wine made by a friend from high school, and it kind of tasted pretty bad. But a couple hours later, it definitely was not good. And then another, which was also homemade, it tasted okay, but yeah, a couple hours later, my body didn't like it. The other comment I have there is break-in routine, going back to what Ron said, can cause our systems distress. And just having something different or not having something which we usually have, sometimes that's all it takes. And let's see. Ron, you said something about not being able to put up with the seals barking. I don't know. I would think after a while we could get used to it. After a while we get used to our wife's snoring, so it seems reasonable to me that if you just, like if you lived on a boat or something, after a while you'd get used to it. It's just, it kind of bothers you when you're there. Dongle. Jim, I think Carlos said something that he found a dongle that would work, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So you might check with him. Bob, when geese will not mess with swans, wow, that is something that surprises me. Thanks for mentioning that. One of those things that I'll probably forget in about a week's time, but that's I may remember that some birds don't get along with other birds. So anyway, interesting. And yeah, I have seen the picture go all black a couple times during tonight's performance. So thanks for mentioning that. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
In 7QO, unfortunately, it's time to close up the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7ATS repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, terminating the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all. ITX disconnected.